Reconstruction of a single-ply coal roof covered with heavy asphalt bands with a protective high-visibility coating. Inspecting the roof. When planning to build a new roof or reconstruct an existing one, first make sure to arrange the exact scope and method of work with the customer. Choose the right roofing membrane type. Remember to pay attention to working conditions, especially building access, ability to transport material to the roof, energy supplies and possible restrictions to other persons. Measuring the roof. Before reconstructing a roof, obtain all available documentation and make a careful inspection of the site. Successful reconstruction requires knowing the roof specifications. These must include measuring the main dimensions and drawing a layout of the roof deck, include the attic gable and above roof masonry, all projecting structures such as chimneys, roof lights, hatchways or penetrations, and outline the way to finish them. Use that information to determine how much roofing membrane is needed, as well as the length and the width of PVC coated metal profiles, eave strips, base profiles, wall and leeward strips and other components, including the way to integrate them with the roof deck. Probes. Drill a few holes in various parts of the roof deck. This is the most reliable way to correctly determine the type and quantity of fixings. When you know all important details, you can prepare a realistic quote and draft installation contract to be concluded between the customer and the contractor. Main and auxiliary material. Choose and prepare all material you need. For the roof in our instruction video, Fatrafol 807 was selected as the main roof covering. The membrane is made of plasticized PVC and its underside is coated with laminated fleece for direct placement on asphalt. Fatrafol 804, a homogeneous membrane of plasticized PVC, is also used in the video as auxiliary material. Other material required for roof deck reconstruction includes PVC coated metal profiles, shaped components, fixing rivets with plate washers, sealing strip made of microporous rubber, self-adhesive paper tape, one-component polyurethane sealant, lightning rod holders, and PVC sealant. This is everything you need for the job. The roof reconstruction may start. Sweeping. Now you are ready to start the work. First make sure to carefully clean and sweep the site. This is vital to reconstructing the roof to high quality standards. Sealing strip under an eave strip. Having cleaned and tidied the roof, you can now install the PVC coated metal profiles on one pre-selected site. If reconstructing a roof deck with uneven edges, we recommend to proceed as follows. Glue the sealing profile, made of microporous rubber or lightweight polyethylene, onto the underside of the eave strip. This will prevent wind from blowing under the roof covering and provide for effective removal of water vapors from individual structural layers of the roof deck. Fixing the eave strip. Install and align the PVC coated metal profiles, keeping a gap of 2 to 3 mm between them. Use the fixings to attach the profiles to the base. The fixings must be spaced at 160 to 200 mm. If the PVC coated metal profiles are wider than 200 mm, we recommend fixing them in two lines for better lateral rigidity. Patching the eave strip. Before finishing the expansion joints, glue self-adhesive paper tape with an approximate width of 20 mm onto the gaps. This is so the membrane doesn't become welded to the PVC coated metal profiles at the joint point. This provides for a sufficient installation length of the membrane above the expansion joint. Using a cutting of the Fatrafol 804 homogeneous membrane, make a watertight joint between two adjacent metal profiles. Hot air weld the Fatrafol 804 cutting along its entire length, till the edge of the eaves drip. Allow at least an hour before giving the patch its final shape. The time is necessary for the joint to cool and for perfect homogenization. To prepare the place for the installation of the roof covering, finish the patches of all expansion joints and then remove all impurities from the surface. Cutting a half-width band. To eliminate wind uplift, install additional fixings along the edge zones of the roof. The minimum width of the edge fixing zones is 1 meter. However, it is advisable to recheck the optimal width by calculation. It's usually sufficient to install half-width membrane bands to enhance the fixing. Fixing a half-width band. Unwind a half-width membrane band to ensure that the profile fixings are sufficiently covered. Place a load on the band to protect it against wind uplift. Allow the band to lie loosely for at least 20 minutes while its volume stabilizes. Meanwhile, place fixings at 30 cm centers. Make sure that the washers are located at least 10 mm from the edge towards the band center. Measure the location of fixings along the entire band length before fixing the membrane to the base. Welding a half-width band. Complete the installation of the half-width membrane band. Weld the band to the PVC coated metal profile using a 30 mm wide hot air weld. Fatrafol 807 membrane bands have a 50 mm wide edge with no laminated fleece along the entire length of one side. Use this to make easy joints. Always remember to make a perfect weld between the membrane band and the PVC coated metal profiles. Pay particular attention to any places where two membranes cross at a right angle over an expansion joint known as a T-joint. When welding a T-joint, always press the joint thoroughly with a roll edge. Complete this work by treating the welds with the PVC sealant for hot air welding. The sealant prevents the membrane from deterioration when under temperature stress. Welding membrane bands within the roof. Start the installation of the roof covering on the main area by unwinding the membrane bands over the entire area. While doing this, check if the fixings are covered as specified and if adjacent bands overlap. At the same time, pre-adjust the membrane to any penetrations and cut the bands to the chosen length depending on the way to finish them along the roof edge. Before placing a load on the loose roof covering during its stabilization, once again check if the bands overlap sufficiently. Measure the locations of fixings using your experience or the fixing plan. The axes of individual fixing for 1300 mm wide bands should not be spaced more than approximately 13 mm apart. Fixing the covering mechanically protects it against effects of external forces as well as internal changes, especially changes of the membrane volume. Always choose the fixing method and the type of fixing depending on the base layer quality and on the size and location of pull-out forces affecting the entire roof deck. Once fixed, hot air weld the membrane bands along the entire joint length. While welding, check the weld geometry and continually remove any impurities from the flat nozzle to make the weld perfectly tight. Repeat the same process for each band within the main roof deck area, covering the entire area. To join membrane bands with the non-laminated fleece on their underside, a 50 mm wide edge with no fleece is provided on one side. The edge makes it possible to hot air weld the bands or bond them by tetrahydrofurane. No free edge is available for transverse joints, making it necessary to choose another way to join the bands. You may choose to overlap the bands, weld them, and place a patch over them. Use a cutting of the Fatrafol 804 homogeneous membrane as the patch. Point weld the cutting to fix it in its final position and, if possible, hot air weld its entire area from the above on both of the joined membrane bands. First, weld the cutting in the center and then along the perimeter on both sides. Pay extra attention to making a perfect weld where the membranes cross at a right angle, known as a T-joint. Press the roll edge on the membrane more firmly and hold it in position to make the joint perfectly tight. Installing an eave strip on the membrane. Now install the PVC coated metal profiles eave strips. If using the Fatrafol 807 and 808 membranes, do not install the peripheral components on the membrane before installing the waterproofing coat. Then fix the components and the membrane at the same time. In this, proceed as if you were fixing them directly to the base structure. We recommend that you place the fixings in two lines for better lateral rigidity on the eave strip. The PVC coated metal profiles can be shaped as conventional metal components, i.e. by cutting, bending and overlapping. Finishing corners of eave strips. To finish expansion joints of PVC coated metal profiles in corners, use cuttings of the Fatrafol 804 homogeneous membrane and weld them onto the fastening profile. Finish this detail identically to the expansion joints of PVC coated metal profiles on the eave strip edges. The Fatrafol 804 features high elongation, allowing all details to be perfectly finished, including very complicated ones. Before giving the corner its final shape, allow the weld about an hour to cool and develop its design strength. All excessive material must be removed. Patching the eave strip. After finishing all expansion joints between the eave strips, join the membrane on the main area with the PVC coated metal profiles. To do this, use a suitably shaped cutting of the Fatrafol 804 membrane. Adjust the cutting so that its edge sufficiently covers the eave strip fixings and provides the minimum required overlap of membranes within the roof. Point fix the cutting in position. Round the cutting edges to make the weld more robust. Rounding is necessary also for aesthetic purposes. Choose the welding method depending on the cutting width. Either the entire area or only along the cutting perimeter, the weld must be at least 30 mm in width. If joining several cuttings together, always make sure they are joined perfectly and check the joints carefully. Roof light sheet metal. When finishing any penetrations through the roof deck, always fix the PVC coated metal profiles first. Use an internal angle strip at the base. To end the vertical overlap of the membrane, use a wall strip that is bent for added rigidity. Choose the type and length of the fixings depending on the base layer quality. The location of fixings on the wall strip must be such that there is a sufficient overlap of a loose membrane to be welded onto the PVC coated metal profile. The metal profiles should fit to the roof light surface as tightly as possible. If needed, an internal angle strip may be used to eliminate minor bumps in the base edge. Membrane installation on the roof light vertical surface. To install the waterproofing coat on a vertical surface, use a band of the Fatrafol 804 homogeneous membrane. Point weld the upper edge of the band to the wall strip and then cut the band. Adjust the band to prevent any ripples. Weld the internal angle edge along its entire length and then weld the membrane area to the horizontal part of the internal angle strip. Point welding the upper edge of the band to the wall strip allows you to remove any ripples on the membrane. If there are no ripples, weld it onto the wall strip. The membrane should usually end half centimeter below the upper edge. Use a guide to cut the horizontal edge of the membrane band, maintaining a minimum overlap of 50 mm over the internal angle strip. Remember to round the corners. Weld the band edge onto the main membrane, keeping the required width of the weld. Proceed identically when finishing the remaining vertical surfaces. Extending the length of the vertical part of the bands allows you to weld adjacent surfaces together. Use vacuum-shaped accessories to finish points where the three planes meet. We recommend using the external angle component to additionally seal corners. Before installation, briefly heat the component with hot air for better elasticity. Center it on the corner and fix it in position by hot air welding. Proceed to weld the component onto each completed corner. Sealing the roof light. Finish the roof light by carefully sealing the joint between the upper reinforced edge of the wall strip and the roof light structure. Use permanently elastic polyurethane sealant for this work. Finishing an antenna mast. Structures that commonly penetrate the roof deck include antenna masts. For this type of structures, use point fixings instead of PVC-coated metal profiles. The adjacent membrane must be fixed in at least 3 points. First, use the Fatrafol 804 homogeneous membrane to make a round cutting, having a suitable diameter for the point fixings. At the same time, prepare a shaped component to finish the mast bottom and cut it as required. Heat both sides of the shaped component with hot air for better elasticity. Fit the shaped component tightly to the mast bottom. Once cooled and contracted, the membrane will fit perfectly around the mast. The membrane height must be at least 150 mm above the adjacent roof plane. Cut a round hole in the round cutting to make a ring. The hole diameter must equal approximately a half of mast diameter. Cut the ring on one side for installation and heat it. Weld the ring step by step while shaping the vertical sleeve. Before welding both ends of the ring together, adjust the ends for easier welding and weld the entire ring onto the membrane. Weld the ring sleeve onto the vertical part along the entire perimeter. After the welding is complete, treat all joints with membrane-colored PVC sealant. To finish, use permanently elastic polyurethane sealant to seal the upper edge of the vertical sleeve on the mast bottom. Follow these instructions also when finishing any similar roof penetrations. Installing lightning rod holders. Place the plastic holder in position and fix it with a PVC membrane patch. Weld the patch perimeter onto the roof membrane. Slip the lightning rod into the holder and secure its position. This is the last job of the roofing membrane installation. The Fatrafol SD roof waterproofing system is a fast, high quality, reliable, environmentally friendly and affordable solution for new buildings as well as reconstructions of existing roof decks. The Fatrafol SD system combines great versatility, technical sophistication, and extensive expertise acquired over 25 years of continuous development.